Hello, my beautiful diamonds. I'm here to share with you an interview with Kamala Harris. Kamala. I like that name. It's pretty. Very pretty, like her. And she's got also an amazing mind. I love, 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 love strong and powerful women. And she's sharing with us the reason why she feels it would be in the country's best interest to vote for her. Let me share this with you. And then, of course, I want you to give me your viewpoint, always.
Everybody here, this is probably the most significant election of our lifetime. You know, we have said it every 4 years, but this here one is it. We are looking at an election that will take place in 122 days.
122.
Where on one side, you have the former president who is running to become president again, who has openly talked about his admiration of dictators and his intention to be a dictator on day one, who has openly talked about his intention to weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies, who has talked about being proud of taking from the women of America a most fundamental right to make decisions about your own body. And then last week, understand, sadly, the press has not been covering it as much as they should in proportion to the seriousness of what just happened, when the United States Supreme Court essentially told this individual who has been convicted of 34 felonies that he will be immune from essentially the activity he has told us he is prepared to engage in if he gets back into the White House.
That's right. Yep.
Understand what we all know. In 122 days, we each have the power to decide what kind of country we want to live in. Understand what we know. When there has been a full-on intentional attack against hard-fought, hard-won freedoms and rights. When I talk about the family that raised me, yes, they took me in a stroller as they were marching and shouting for justice, knowing that justice will not be achieved unless we are prepared to march and shout and fight for it. And one of the ways we do that is through our vote. This here election, let's think about the significance of the United States Supreme Court. 2 years ago and some days now, we commemorated a decision by the United States Supreme Court, the Dobbs decision, that undid the protections of Roe v. Wade. Understand how that happened. The former president, who wants to be president again, hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did as he intended. The Court of Thurgood and RBG took a most fundamental right, the right to make decisions about your own body. And on this subject, I think we all believe and know one does not have to abandon their faith and deeply held beliefs to agree the government should not be telling her what to do with her body.
That's right.
If she chooses, she will talk with her priest or her pastor, her rabbi, her imam, but the government should not be telling her what to do. Understand that the former president, who is up for re-election, has said he is proud of what has happened, proud of the fact that our daughters will have fewer rights than their grandmothers, that we have seen in state after state, they're passing laws punishing healthcare providers, in Texas providing for prison for life for a doctor or nurse who provides reproductive care. Understand, laws being passed and proposed that make no exception for rape or incest. Caroline, you asked me about the things that have influenced my career.
That's exactly right.
So many of you know I was a prosecutor. You may not know one of the reasons why. When I was in high school, I learned that my best friend was being molested by her stepfather. And when I learned, I said to her, you have to come live with us. I called up my mother. My mother said, of course she does. And she came and she lived with us. So I decided at a young age I wanted to take on what I could do to protect women and children against violence. The idea that these fun and everybody here, this is probably the most significant election of our lifetime. You know, we have said it every 4 years, but this here one is it. We are looking at an election that will take place in
She is absolutely right. Do you know that Oprah Winfrey, she traveled, and you have Joyce Myers and several women, I call them powerful women, have traveled all throughout the country, all throughout the world, and they said that they was in total disbelief that in some countries, even in 2024, you have women who are not allowed to do this. They're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed. They have so many things that they are still forbidden to do. Let me share this also, why Oprah Winfrey tells the news reporters she's willing to take a risk endorsing Kamala Harris. Now, forget about people's issues with Oprah and what went down in Hawaii. People are upset with Oprah because they feel that she should have footed the whole bill. She should have paid for everything. She already donated $10 million and she raised $12.5 million helping these people in Maui, Hawaii. And because she didn't fund it all, you have a lot of people who have issues with her on that. Oh, well,
and everybody here.
You're always going to find people who are not satisfied, honey. But one thing, let me share this with you, because I'm very proud of Oprah. You know, people say she helps white people. She helps people who she feels need help. But people are always going to find something to complain about. But you have to learn how to be self-sufficient and stop caring about what people have to say, because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Okay, here we are.
Are you risking anything at all entering the political arena to endorse Kamala Harris? And I think the answer people understand in this time and place is yes. So why was it so important to risk that reputation, all of that trust, all of that capital for this moment?
Because I really care about this country. And there couldn't have been a life like mine, a career like mine, a success like mine without a country like America. Only in America could there be a me. And I feel that a lot of things are on the line, a lot of things are at stake. And if ever you're going to stand up and fight for your country and fight for freedoms that, you know, I don't need the right to abortion, but I believe that the right to control your body and be able to control what happens to you, particularly as a woman person in this country, is essential. It's fundamental. And all of the freedoms that I have enjoyed, the successes that I have enjoyed, I feel that they're on the line and at stake in this moment. And I think there's the bottom line for me is that decency and respect are on the ballot. And that's why I was willing to do it. And let me just tell you, the big risk was when I don't have anything to lose now. I don't have a show. I don't have, it's not, what is it going to cost me other than knowing that I had to do whatever I could to speak up?
Are you risking anything?
And a lot of the reasons, I love her, I admire her. She's one of my definitely mentors that I look up to. And along with Kamala Harris, along with Priscilla Shirer, I have a lot of women. You know how I feel about Joyce Myers. We don't even have to go there. I love her because she helped save my life. You know, when I was at an all-time low, God used Joyce Myers, worked through Joyce Myers to help pull me out of it. And now that I have my foundation built on solid rock opposed to built on sand, which was the governing body, used to be. I was a Jehovah's Witness for 55 years of my life. Yeah. But thank God, Jesus Christ came to my rescue. But back to my point, people are upset with Oprah because they feel that she should have funded everything, considering she's a billionaire. She did more than her share. She donated generators, she donated food, clothes, and then her best friend Gail, her son, he suggested that there's so much more that we can do. And she bent over backwards really trying to help with that disaster that happened over in Maui, Hawaii. You know, also when it comes to the immigration, a lot of people are upset about immigrants being allowed in this country. But when you think about America, America was built from immigrants. Most of us who came, our foreparents are immigrants here in this country. Now, I agree that we need to focus on taking care of our own first before we take care of others. At the same time, let me tell you why I appreciate the immigrants. Because when I look around, I live in New York, I see businesses closing down. This is closed, that's closed, everything is closing down. And when I went into some of these businesses that was around these businesses that used to be open, and I asked, what's going on? And they said, no one is showing up for work. People don't want to work. And I'm not going to say it's because American people are lazy. It's just that when you look at the high cost of living, the rent is high, food is high, gas is high, utilities is high, clothes or whatever the hell is high. Americans are not trying to work for slave wages. It's not that they're lazy. However, the country still has to function and it still has to run. And immigrants are coming to this country saving these businesses. You like going to the supermarket. You like having things transferred and brought to, food has to be delivered, imported. You have to have people show up for work. And the only people who are willing to show up and work for maybe, $10 or $12 an hour are the immigrant people. But the thing about the immigrants and what makes them so beautiful that Americans refuse to do is to unite. You notice how the immigrants, they work as a family. Americans, they want to move out. They don't take care of their parents, don't take care of much of anything. Everybody wants their independence. But when you look at the immigrants, they stick together. Africans, they stay together as a family. They usually don't move out until they marry out of the household. When you have grown men who stay in the household in this country, people want to call him a simp or a wuss or a mama's boy. No, that's a wise thing to do. Because the Bible says the only reason a man will leave his mother and father is to unite with a wife. Why should he leave his family's home when they could work together, build together, buy houses together if he's not married? I think men who stay home until they marry, and some men don't want marriage. They don't want a ball and chain. They want their freedom. They get their freedom if they stay at home with their parents because they're grown. But they get to save money, help their parents. Their parents are helping them. As long as they have a job, they have their own transportation. They're helping. You cook this week, she cooks that week. They work as a family unit, and that's what immigrants do. Americans don't want to do that. They talk a good game. Oh, families should stick together. Black people should be together. They don't do none of it. And when you look at how this country was built on the backs, we were all immigrants pretty much. At black people. Hello, how we do? I'm Trinidadian. And they brought me up here, I guess, somewhere along the line. Now, I also believe that there should be a balance when it comes to the immigrants, and make sure you take care of the American people too. And no, Americans are not lazy, because when you think about it, if you're willing to pay people, let's say $15 an hour, that's not even $50,000 a year. In order to make $50,000 a year, you have to be making at least 24.80 cents. Let's just say $25 an hour. Anybody who's making less than $25 an hour, they're not even making $50,000. I did the research because I looked it up yesterday, my curiosity. But I read a lot, and when I read, it leads me to do research everywhere. And I learn something new every day, especially on TikTok, social media, because I always go into things with an open mind. I go in with an open mind, and I'm a good listener. And I pay close attention to things. And I always, if you notice, I always have a pen and pad somewhere where I'm taking notes. That's why I learn something new every day. And you can't go into things with a closed mind. You have to have an open mind. But anyway, I am just so proud that when it comes to people crying about abortion, that's something that you take up with your Heavenly Father. who exercises grace, understanding. They have a profound understanding. And I think it's so hypocritical for people to be against abortion, but they'll support war. So they'd rather for you to grow up and then have your limbs blown apart. You know how many veterans I've seen with half a body and they're rolling around on their hands, moving this, and what happened? I was in the military. So you rather for people to be born first and then you kill them. Are you serious? That's what you call hypocrisy. But anyway, I wanted to share this with you, you know, and I definitely, I'm a theocrat personally. I vote for Jesus Christ because that's why I go and preach and teach about the good news of the kingdom. Jesus Christ ruling and reigning as king, because truth be told, that's the only solution, really. At the same time, God permitted these governments to be put in place. So you have to make the decision on what you feel is best for you and this country. Because when it comes to people, I think, who are voting for Trump, they don't give a damn about this country. Because, I mean, you know, I don't like to talk negatively about he's the president, whatever, child. I don't even know what to call it anymore. I want to be respectful. But, dude, he's not qualified. He can't do it. Oh, let me just show. Oh, child. Oh, I got so many things here where he's looking like a babbling fool. And anybody who's still trying to support him, they don't care about this country. They just care about, oh, it's a woman. Oh, she's black. And stop the color thing, baby. It ain't about no color. It's about the best person for the job. Who really gives a damn about this country? That's what it's about. You see, I'm starting to elevate my voice because I'm getting passionate about it. But I'm mindful of it, so I'll tone it back down. But it is what it is, my darlings. And always keep an open mind. That way you'll learn so much more. I love you.